Welcome from the break. This is the second hour of the Dialogue TV. Prince Apollo, Dr. Gerard Wansala, and Richard Ma, but also we have Mosidi David, candidate for the mental seat in Machindi West, still interrogating the circumstances playing out in the election, especially the escalating violence that has been witnessed in the past 3 weeks, seeing security taking different posture from its initial position. We see tear gas, we see live ammunition being employed, we see canine dogs employed in crowds, but also the Electoral Commission coming out to emphasize that there is a non-compliance to electoral guidelines, and perhaps that is the main factor behind the escalating tensions. Let's now continue the debate, but we implore you to start in the discussion by sending in your comments and observations, telling us what you think this could be, what could be the factors behind this escalation, but also how can we handle it as we go into the final of the 2026 general elections. Richard, before we went break, you were concluding on this matter of the high-handedness from both sides. Good, you pointed out that even security operatives at one point make mistakes. We saw actually one case in is it Uganda, where the rally was still progressing, but tear gas was fired amidst the rally. I mean, cars flying
pregnant women
into the rally directly. I think that is act of recklessness. I don't know what you think. Because the stampede can result into death only, not even in.
And I saw a police car which was driving while knocking border and foot soldiers.
Yeah,
so I agree. We have actually agreed. Guys are milking, and that's what I was telling you. That every time you are in government and you create mistakes or blunders, then you have the party something to milk. So they will milk it. Now I was saying, we are in 60 now. For the first probably 45 days, there was nothing to milk. So now they have handed over something. Now, I said that is those are commanders. Why do you hand over people something to milk? They will milk. That would be the focus. Yeah, and that's what we are doing. I said, but what would the opposition talk about?
Do you think these are operational blunders or mistakes?
It doesn't matter whether they are individual or institutional. They are operational blunders. Those ones must be treated. The illegality must be punished. The administrative blunders must also be dealt with. But that's one. But two, they are also the police people would also be tired. Yes.
Tired?
Because we assume that police people are that for them they are angelic.
Tired of what?
They could be tired. They could be back home. I was telling the other guy that you see, for the woman being mistreated, if she's my wife and I'm a police officer, what will I do? Yeah. What will happen? So we also have to add to that. And that's why I was telling you that, you see, the danger is romanticizing the crowds and portraying them as angelic. That not being balanced to say provocation can be on both sides. And then, you see, I talked about the issue of influence, and the people tend to dismiss it. But I can understand. If you don't have certain information and assess and what, sometimes you can dismiss some.
You have information.
You can have
that. You
can have
these crowds.
Who you can have also people in the forces who are also saying we are going to buy. We don't support you. You the government. We are going to do things.
Member of the security force.
Because how do coups happen?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. How do this happen? So you could also have those. But also the other infiltration can be, especially on the shooting. I tell people, so who shot? Who shot? Because see, it is assumed that thing is from one side. Influence can be embedded. It is possible. So for me, when I come to speak, I am not as angry because I have not been shot with a rubber bullet, I have not been knocked. I am not as angry as my colleague. And so that's why I bring all this. And I can appreciate when you have been harmed, when you have been there, when you are angry. It can be, you can bring a lot of passion.
Do you appreciate,
but
Richard,
all these be, and so,
do you appreciate the role of the Electoral Commission in managing this situation?
No, I have been on your show before and talked about the Electoral Commission. And I've said for me, I try what I think is realistic. To sit here and assume that the Electoral Commission has power is really, in my view, you are being a liar.
If they are powerless, why are they still saying they are in charge? Because from the statement of the Electoral Commission chairman says we are firmly in charge of this process.
Yeah, it is not what he says. It is what you choose to believe. You see, for me, if I'm seated on national television analyzing and somebody keeps, I see them, my colleagues, the Electoral Commission has the power. Power. Electoral Commission. Really? Which power? So for me, I don't want to talk about the power of the Electoral Commission.
Who is in charge?
It is not. Who is in charge of what?
Of the situation, of
this,
the process.
Who is in charge of this country?
Of the
Paporo doesn't know the person who is in charge of this country.
Of the electoral process. Who is in charge?
There is a person who is in charge of the country.
Of the electoral process. Who is in charge?
Doesn't matter what process. The person is in charge of the country. And if we go hide and pretend that we don't know, then I am not sure that.
Let me ask Musi, do you really, are you at terms with that reality that the Electoral Commission is not in charge of this process, which you actually into?
Actually, that's why, for example, President of DF, Democratic Front, raised over 2 reforms to Parliament, 8 bills to Parliament, and one was which tackles actually the Electoral Commission to be independent as the analogy independent Electoral Commission. And for us, we separate the segments because these are the Presidential Election Act, then there is the Parliament Election Act, and there is the Local Election Act, the Local Government Election Act. So for us, it was very deliberate for us to actually bring in a presidential candidate as DF. And for us to understand, because now look at what happened if you unfold from the start. 209 candidates expressed their interest to run as fountain of honors to this country. How many? 8. What is the qualifier? Who sets the qualification? What is the yardstick? There are a lot of questions. What is the intent?
David, you are a candidate in this process, and you
not on the Parliamentary Election Act. No, they are not.
It is the same commission in charge.
They are not. Of course,
it is the same commission of the process. You are, participating in the process.
Discuss segment by segment.
You are participating in a process. You know, the presiding body is not in charge.
Where you know that at
being
least
fair to yourself,
there is some kind of power to be reflected somewhere. You see, where the burden of the impunity rests, it rests the final consumer, the populace, the voters, the constituents. Now, for the Presidential Election Act, whereby even announcing election do not know whether it is coming from Mukono, but they say under the tree A to Z. You can't trust that kind of fraud. You know, I am saying, at least here I have a safety valve somewhere, rested somewhere, that I will know that at least in matching the West constituency, or if it is actually local government, then you know that in the division for mayor.
You are cautious to also include Machindi Division West.
Yes. So I mean, now you're taking us to
Go ahead.
so it is defined. We even know the parameters. We know, but one who sets.
We will say you don't even know your constituency. All right.
So for us, I think we agree. Comrade here, the independent electoral commission, not an independent electoral commission, it is a partisan electoral commission, first of all, but also just like anyone who is an employer and an employee. The other one is employed by General Kaguta 7, so they are only taking in what he instructs, his instruction is only. So it is not about working for the
So what
country.
kind of election do we have with the electoral commission total?
The question to me would be, what is the, why are we in this election? But why support? For me, apart from having, apart from me being DF and not having a presidential candidate in the party, have a presidential candidate who is running in His Excellency Robert Sentamu Kyagulanyi. I believe that actually we were supposed to be in this election because one, we must the prudence of an election because tyrannies have been answered at the beginning of elections, within elections, or after elections. So it only gives you an opportunity to traverse this country because you know most of the cases you want to speak to the people. The government bars you to reach the people. They will arrest you, they will tear gas you, they will shoot you, you know. So it is very important for us because if we don't go to the ballot, then we must get bullet.
Even when you know that
if we are not, there are two alternatives. It is either non-violence or a bullet, armed revolution. So we chose the non-violent side. Therefore, that's why here. And I know we are achieving a lot. And comrade here, an historical that we are achieving.
Okay, Dr. Wanzala.
Doing great.
Dr. Wanzala. I want Dr. Wanzala to briefly speak about the role of the electoral commission in the whole of this, as the election turns violent. What is the role of the electoral commission to somehow help de-escalate the situation?
Now, the role of the electoral commission is more of a coordination agency, because while we say that they have the power, in reality they don't. You know, in elections we have various stakeholders playing as roles. The electoral commission, yes, issues guidelines, they nominate candidates, they ensure electoral materials are taken to all places, they ensure that they coordinate civic education and electoral monitoring activities, but they always work hand in hand with other organizations, the police specifically. So, and then they also have at least direct attention on these police officers who are given to the presidential candidates, and also the what they call election constables. They are now in different parts of the country to be deployed just for elections, and after that they are disbanded. But now when it comes to the Byabakama police, that is in charge of maintaining security in elections, the police can only ask them to be responsible or in a responsible way. The electoral commission can ask them, can request them that you obey the law, you do this and that. So, and you know,
Justice Byabakama coming out, publicly stated that the EC is firmly in charge.
I doubt they are firmly in charge when it comes to issue of the children. Firmly in charge, and also I think where I doubt them, we saw the by-election MP, where everything was in black and white. I did not see an express statement naming the perpetrators, either JAT or what, or What I saw was maintaining the usual neutral voice, even when seeing the perpetrators of violence are moving in military cars, are behaving like soldiers, they are on border with guns. They are not civilians who are doing that. So in such circumstances, I would expect the Electoral Commission to be direct and say, you know, you are making my work very, very difficult. And coming to the electoral laws, I have seen DF talk so much about
Electoral
reforms. Yes, we have reforms which we have waited for a while. And I think the case of Amama Mbabazi, where the Supreme Court even directed, has been ignored. But if you look at our electoral laws, in compare with a number of African countries, they are quite good. They are at a certain level. If I would maybe give them maybe 70%. But the biggest problem that we have is the behavior of the actors in electoral processes. For instance, the law is against bribery. Don't we smell new money moving around, bribery being done openly? Okay, it's against violence. The laws are against violence, and they say electoral violence is a crime. Have we seen the perpetrators being tried?
Actually,
we are still waiting for those.
The electoral laws empower the EC to even disqualify
candidates.
Presidential candidates.
Exactly. There are so many sanctions that can happen, but it's not happening. And for me, I think the issue is to do with the actors in the electoral processes.
Now, wait a minute. With the EC not in charge, with a lead of a ruling government, like from borrowing from Richard's statement, in charge, what process are we into? I mean, what is this?
Yeah, I mean, it comes back to the behavior. I concluded it by saying that the behavior of political actors, I did not mention names because there are many, but behavior of political actors. When I talk about political actors, security is a political actor in the electoral processes, the police specifically. And even while the guidelines say that, the law says that the police may call upon the army, why is that? For instance, UPDF is at NUP.
Dr. Wanzala, I'm asking, is this an election?
Yeah, definitely it is. It has always produced. People go to parliament. Isn't he still in the commission? Even when NUP with it produces some leaders at various levels. They are there. It's an election. What we need to talk about is the quality of the election.
The quality of the election. Let me read some of them. Good morning, Ban Apollo and the panelists. Thanks for the great show. The campaign violence is disgusting, and we should all condemn it in the strongest terms possible. To avert this, all sides to act responsibly and exercise maximum restraint. Lack of independence by our government institutions has made matters worse because from above still seem to determine the way situations are handled. This is Masaba Raboba Inimbale. Thank you so much Cleophas. Thank you so much for watching. And he says the EC, guys, let's be honest and to our senses. You can't claim opposition candidates are flouting the guidelines, yet it's actually your own systems that are surely causing it. I'm campaigning in Bukasa and I am coming from Mukono, and when I reach Kavure, the police makes me to access Bukasa through Kayunga Mutungo Bina, Kampala Road in Butabika, then Kasokoso Lost City, then finally get to Bukasa. Who is to blame really? The candidates or security? And stop this nonsense of saying supporters are the ones who start throwing stones. On a great note, almost all these rallies are live, and in most cases, I think live, he says, or either on TV or where.
Bloggers are there live.
Okay. In most cases, it's the police and other security that start the chaos. On innocent citizens, let these guys in uniform know that this country is for all of us, and ought to know that this world is round. Whatever you are doing now will one day you will one day face it, and it's just a matter of time, like General Muntu always says. Imagine what happened in Kawempe. Seriously, when officers could start firing tear gas and live bullets, yet in the background you see a very deep trench. Now, if those people who were falling on each other, cockroaches that have been sprayed with racket medicine had died, what would government have said? What is hard? Leaving people to listen to their candidates and help them to vacate the grounds after the rallies are done. Why are we wasting money on training these guys? Is use of excessive force to control their own method of controlling citizens? Why act as you are not trained in crowd control? This must be Major Otim Joel. I am very sure. Yes, Otim Major Joel. Thank you so much for this long message. Because he's an ardent viewer.
Oh, yeah.
And he is.
Apple, there's one
he raises very many issues. I don't know if you can make
I think it is obvious. We have ever talked about it here.
Professionalism.
I saw the first.
It's a display of unprofessionalism.
I saw the first arrival of Dandala Mafabi in Uganda, where he came from Namutumba side, and when he's in Nakalama trying to access Iganga, you are told to go back up to Busembatia, and then you take Kibale to come to Iganga.
You make the trade very expensive.
That doesn't really make sense to anybody, even if you never studied vectors at school, because that you have to be general to understand that. Almost impossible. So also the unreasonable directives of command. Then the other interesting thing I've observed, before election, I sit with my NRM friends. And not NRM. These ones who joined from Kampala Road and so forth. City Square. Because they don't hold the ideals that Richards. Now they said, this time has given money. PDM, there is no opposition. I told them the opposition is there. I think this PDM has really made the transformation that we are talking about. I say, for me, if I was to be in charge, this 1.1 trillion pie, if I faced it for 5 years, probably people would see projects in some areas that can win me votes, instead of directly injecting money in the pockets of the to eat. To eat.
The EC stop dreaming, they are in charge. What are they in charge of? The only way they will charge of those processes is when the citizens vote them publicly and not appointed by the son of Amos. Even a baby still in the mother's womb knows exactly who's in charge of everything and anything in Uganda. Justice Byabakama should stop lying to him, let him do as directed and get his salary, period. I think it is so it's not but it's interesting. Talking about the electoral committee, you want to respond first?
I was just, there is that amused me about NRM primaries. There was a lot of violence and ruckus. But at least if at least Byabakama, Justice Byabakama could borrow from Dango Doi. At least there was a committee. There was a tribunal. For example, for a president of Russia, they are still. But at least they have not resolved. But there was. It is important. Semblance for justice is very important. For example, my friend from Uganda, I think.
But Byabakama announced that he has established a desk to receive calls. I don't know if it is. You see, delayed justice is denied justice. If something occurs, should be right away. Apart from they are looking for ways of again getting compromised, because the more you delay, the more you give wind for compromise, for corruption. So for me, I think they would actually ball a leaf. From Tango Doi's committee.
Even Tango Doi, we know that he is also serving the boss. But the way he serves the boss,
he's counting of votes.
It's not to just keep quiet, to be silent.
Just like a question to you, Musiri. You are in this process, but the Electoral Commission chairman week made it clear that on polling day, nothing like vote protection will be allowed. You people who plan that I'll have my people to be at the polling station to protect the vote, cast your ballot, go home. No waiting. Actually, his explanation is that no polling station can actually accommodate all those people to remain in a station, and perhaps that sounds true. He also said that vote protection in the elections is only a mandate of observers, your aides, your polling agents on that particular polling station, and perhaps the Electoral Commission officials. They are there to protect your vote.
For me, I think it only requires common sense, because this has been the way to go. Apart from people who talk about, I think he was trying to answer the protest vote.
Yeah, true.
And I think he's on panic.
Yeah,
he's worried. But we have always had voter protection, because we're counting votes. People will come back to witness who has won. You are not going to send away everyone. That's why I am telling you, it goes back to common sense. There are certain things you cannot avoid, and you don't have control of them. He does not have power over the populace, over the constituents who would want
but
to
that's
witness
perhaps where
their vote counting.
The concern is that that could be another spark for chaos. If people to the polling station, then perhaps the security will try to disperse them, and then polling stations may turn into battlegrounds.
You see, in 2021, I think he was still
he was
the chairman. What happened? Didn't people count their vote? Didn't they go home, stay there? Because after counting the votes, because it is in steps, this is a process. You don't count votes, then you announce the final on the polling station. Then you have to tally the polling stations. Then people will go to the tally center. The process is clear and it is known. Therefore, he's trying to serve his boss in another way. I think he's doing a lot of things instead of minding on his job. That's why he's his job. He should know that there is a relation officer, and now he's trying also to the relation officer's role is mingling a lot of things. I think he should to his role, and this is where we need him. Where there is bickering, there is a lot of confrontation, he should come out to be a mitigator, not just start crying, to be like a crying baby and he wants to purport to blow his trumpet as if he has power. He doesn't have power, we know this. Let him do what his boss paid him for.
Okay, Richard, there is that concern that on polling, if perhaps those who are coming up for protecting their vote come to the polling station, and then the chairman made it clear. He actually joked that if I'm with a suit, you may not go back with your suit in it. Perhaps making a clear, say out a warning that you may be roughed up. So, and there is that concern that polling stations may become a point of confrontations.
I have said before and may say again that you see, contestation for power is not a choir. Contestation for power is not a choir. Now, order to sing. Okay, you roll down, bass sing,
alto,
okay, soprano,
and they comply. Everyone complies.
Contestation. We are talking about power. See, power, privilege, prosperity, propensity, propulsion, profile, position. It's, and so the circumstances of that, on who has it and how much they are willing not to lose it. In context in which we are, and when we don't acknowledge that context, then we keep talking in ideals. We talk. I don't want to speak as if I am in heaven somewhere. I'm in Uganda, and it is 2025. Yes. so I don't want to. I try not to, and I really refuse to be taken. So there is power here. There is an attempt to take it. There is a large young population that has some jobs and no jobs, and so a relative level of hopelessness. But there is also one who has means to deter them. So this is the context. So that's
so we should expect clashes.
So for me to sit here and say, that's why I was telling you that for the 40 or so days that there were clashes, it was a point of discussion. We were all speaking with surprise because we expected different. We have seen different. And we have seen it here, and we have seen it in our neighboring countries. I am not saying that we accept it. I am saying that we acknowledge that's what it is.
But why is why is such a decision being at this time? Because like he said,
I have talked
in
about
2021 and previous elections, people would come to the polling station, even sit, and others go home and come back.
Actually,
going to be there.
Apart from when Byabakama is preempting, he's going to do vote rigging, because these people want to be there, their vote.
No, vote rigging will happen whether you are there or not. You see, I tell you, you can actually come, and your objective is you're going to lose. So you are going to disrupt. Because you're going to lose. And therefore you have ground for petition. So it's not that the one going to win is the only one interested. The one going to lose is interested in making it
like we saw in Kawempe.
I don't know what you saw, but me, I'm saying
lose, but
I'm making observation.
Even lose, but integrity. You want to see that actually I got 2 votes. That's your concern.
So there are those two.
Yes.
There are those ones who come and want the count to go. There are those ones who come and don't want the count to go well. So we don't say not as everybody who comes wants the counting to go where, because that's the assumption we are seem to be promoting.
So if Byabakama's directive stands,
it is not going to stand. Don't go into ifs. I'm told. You see, there are certain things which arise that we can pay for our affiliation. No, stand. There are 2 things that will not stand. The first one is on the processions.
Yeah.
So imagine footballer.
Yeah.
Good footballer, a popular footballer in the, what do you call it?
Celebrity.
Comes he. So how will you stop a procession?
Messi. Or now.
So, Kyagulanyi, apart from being somebody who wants to take away power from Yoweri Museveni, he's a
celebrity.
But also that Kyagulanyi is attempting, for me, I know somebody who certainly does not support opposition, but he rode a motorbike for about 15 kilometers because he wanted to see Kyagulanyi. So if you count that one on his motorcycle as a border following Kyagulanyi, you will tear gas them.
Okay.
So after that of procession is not going to happen. The other one, I want you to picture. You see, sometimes you need to help ourselves. I want to picture a polling station. How many people are in your constituency standing road for MP?
There are 13.
There are 13. Each one is around.
Yes.
That does not include the woman. That does not include the mayor.
Even the president. And the mayor is not voted on that.
On that
day.
day.
President.
That does not include
MP.
So how many people already? 2. Each one. You will have more than 30 people.
Actually, that is EC chairman's ratio.
Then you have the
already there are very many
security guys. Then you have the electors. You already. Do you know how small a polling station is? Already have a crowd. So when you come, how are you going to do Ibans? And you know, these things are also near Mizgo, near residential places. There are schools where the teachers also are
residents.
So how are you going to do this? So that's
some of the polling stations actually are in people's homes. So you are going to disperse them.
In a school, you find more than one polling station. A to Z.
So it's difficult to enforce.
So that's what I'm telling you.
That
can't happen.
Some of these things
are
just. Let me hear from colleague Wanzala just in 3 minutes. Make of this directive.
Of course, I agree with my colleagues. It's not going to stand. We are participating in elections here. By around 2-3 p.m., we'll start gathering to listen to what is being counted. So are you going to do that? You have the manpower to disperse people in over 60,000 stations in the country. So it's
areas.
not going to work.
Finally, what way forward? How best can we avoid these contentions and these incidents of violence that are now being witnessed in this election, especially relating to what the Katikiro said, that elections are prayer sessions. You must expect excitement. You cannot suppress the excitement of an election.
Apple, even when you are going for prayers also exciting. How about the election? And yet we pray every day.
Yeah.
Elections that take place once in 5 years. You see, and we have a country whereby opposition is curtailed for the rest of the period, and they only see the president of the republic. So when it comes to elections,
only once in 5 when dogs are let out.
There are areas that only see an opposition candidate during the electoral cycle. So they turn up. And so when you deny them that, I think you create a situation of anxiety. So the ideal situation would be, let's stick to, policing actions in the right way. If crowds are not violent, let's guide them. If you cannot stop them, because if I come with 20 police officers to stop 10,000, I think I'm creating unnecessary chaos in that place. Probably guide them, have engagement, even a lot of engagement before the rally to ensure that we prevent. But also, I want to the Electoral Commission to ensure that where you see, like I've seen Biabakama sometimes directly attacking NUP. I've seen a number of cases. The same thing should happen also when the police is on the wrong, using the powers that you have to say that here we condemn, but you build policing in such and such a way. And also, please open up a transparent process for people to file complaints. And then you play a role of an arbiter if there is such chaos. But otherwise, we are going to see, as we move towards January, the country will go back on tension, similar to what we had in COVID.
Do you see an opportunity to stop these incidents of violence? Do we still have that chance?
Unfortunately, not really. I'm still like Richard, who say that probably the objective of tear gas should be achieved. I don't expect. I don't expect that we are not going to see, because we still have, especially central here.
Yeah.
We have areas here around Gomba,
even much in the Kampala areas.
Busiro area.
Chagulanyi is coming. He's coming to constituencies. Masaka. He's going to Masaka.
I think today is supposed to be in my neighborhood in the United Republic, Chirinya. So I don't know which road.
Masaka.
Is in Masaka. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, but we are going to.
But already they have started their planning. They don't want him to pass through Masaka. They are creating another roadmap. The one they did to Nadara Mafari. Go back to.
Good morning, sir. People don't NUP hooligans. When Bobby came to Mityana, the whole town was sterilized, and we were the one controlling traffic by force. A traffic vehicle wanted to take over, and some NUP guys said in Uganda, temubakiriza kuita. What do you think police can do in such incidences? Secondly, we saw a woman yesterday carrying the NUP hooligans started throwing stones. Okay, I the message as it is here, but I try to comprehend it. And police answered them by tear gas. Fortunately, it affected even non-partisan people. So, blaming police, you haven't yet tested these Chagulanyi hooligans. God bless you. The name is Amanya Abe, 54. Well,
I think for that,
I think.
Do you know why those guys say don't allow the truck to?
He portrays the Noob supporters as unruly.
No, because you have a victim in the studio. I want to tell you, even if I was on that trail, I would say don't allow that truck to go through. Because when it passes you, then it blocks the road. That's their intention. If it's go and bypass you, then they will block the road. Then they will give you another road to go to the venue.
Okay, Richard, let's plan to conclude. Do you find do you have any prescription for this? How best can we avoid these situations escalating into much worse situations? Because like in Uganda, one life lost, others still critically injured. And not on supporters' side, but even the security say they have casualties.
So we do not know the person who died, which side he was. We don't know which side fired the bullet. So if because you see, for you to give a prescription, you should have a diagnosis. So if we have these unknowns, how can we have a prescription?
Yeah, but the security have a mandate to investigate and know who had the gun, because they are the ones who have the monopoly of holding firearms.
Remind me after the program, I send you an article in a government-owned newspaper that which were used in a robbery belonged to legitimate security force back then. So you see, I refuse to be taken into utopia and ideal. I really remain here. So I have not changed my prediction, if you know. I told you, I say keep them. I said the tear gas is going to be used. Water cannon is used, probably worse. I do not see what has changed. And that's what I'm telling you. For me, I look at circumstances and say, but nothing has changed. The extremism
do we have an
and radicalization on
do we
each
have
side
an opportunity to change this, to turn this around?
Which the radicalization is paying for the opposition, and these stories are paying off. You have the government in the corner. You can cast it as the most blood. So, what is the appetite to stop? But also on this side, you have this radicalization and extremism. Calls, I don't know, commands coming, I don't know from where, but you can see that there is also extremism. So, what is it that would give me reason to predict otherwise?
So your prediction stands. Good morning, Principal and the team. I have voted consistently since CA, and I have always seen people called polling agents. I suppose their job is to protect the votes of their principals. If that is true, then what is the work of an ordinary voter like you and me? This is Reverend Jimmy Mayo in Fort Portal. Goes to you because you are in the race. You have polling agents. Why would you want other ordinary voters to be at the polling station to protect the vote?
As I said, it is amorphous. You to come and protect their vote. It's out of love.
But can't you tell them to stay? Can't you tell them to stay home?
I don't know whether Apollo you have been in the NRS.
No, I've been in races, not for other people, but in organizational elections.
I am telling you. For example, during the process of voting for separate ballot, it is only agents that are in that area of voting, witnessing who tears the ballot. But for counting, even if it is a primary school, or even if it is a guilty president or a head prefect, I am telling you, counting comes. People who come because they want to know who what. And sure, I don't know why would someone ask that. It is out of love. It is That is one of the signs of patriotism, that have what they have done. But as I conclude,
Concluding remarks, please.
I think this country would go back to the regime of Kare. I don't mean he was the perfect guy. He was not a perfect cop.
Regime of who?
Kare Kayihura.
Kare Kayihura.
When he was still IGP. Yes. Because he had introduced policing. I think what we need here as a solution is community policing. Can the community discussion with the police, with the security agents? Because like angry dogs that are kept out of the people, and when they get access, they are on orders to only beat.
But even during Kayihura's time, the elections were even worse.
But the rate, we are talking about but there was some kind of course, you would have a session with the police officer.
Okay.
You know, that is what is needed. Let us have a case where there is where you are disagree.
Is that your final message to the people?
I think
to go without telling his people to vote him.
Yeah.
I would be disappointed.
I think I even call for this is a clarion call to all the youth to make this be disciplined, because while we want government, you would wish to have the new government when you all have your relatives.
Yeah.
It is. We lost a life there.
Yeah.
I think that should be contested by a person who has a sober mind and who still has their consciousness. To the people of Machin, I pray that you vote for me as I am coming to Zambia Central starting tomorrow. Please, I am coming door to door, and I pray that I will serve you. I am just a servant. I am not like any other. I am not like any other politician. I am only here for service daily. I am a servant, and I want to serve you, the people of Machin West. I think the best and the most qualified candidate for Machin West Division C.
Thank you. Richard, your final comment?
I've heard Musidi say that he is from the ghetto.
Yes.
There's no way Musidi's children are going to belong to the ghetto. No, he has finished his lineage. His lineage of ghetto stops with him.
He's now going.
He has moved
scale.
Absolutely.
I might have a hair.
Nothing. Musidi, nothing. That's the reality. That's the reality. You can't keep yourself tying yourself to the ghetto.
He's going to Kampala,
but you don't belong there.
But I am still there.
Nothing. It is if you are here on national TV addressing people. So you see. So that's, and I'm coming from point of reality, and I want to say two things. First, I want to message that the young people of this country, when we were young, we also did certain moves because we were angry, we were pointed, we were disillusioned, and we took a certain line. And the line is here. Young people of this country must know that the things they do now will affect them now, but 40 years to come, like they are affecting us now. And so they must take direction. And learn from examples. Musidi has said he has been around. He knows how trees have been devastated. That even those who thought they were liberating themselves are together with everybody else and burning. And also that is, I'm going to quote what I said, and I will give you, I said this on another TV. Finally, election contestation is about power. For expect it to be like a Pentecostal service, where people sing and dance is unrealistic.
Good.
We must be realistic.
Thank you. Dr. Justin Wood.
Yeah, my appeal is to the stakeholders in the electoral process, no matter which side political divide where you belong. Please, let's keep the peace. Let's do our civic duty to scrutinize the candidates and vote. We should try to exercise restraint amidst all the provocation. With that, we shall have a better Uganda.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Richard Baguma. Thank you so much, Musidi David, candidate for Member of Parliament, Machin West, Machin Division constituency. I thank you, viewers, for staying with us until next Saturday in another edition of the Dialogue. Thank you much to the production team. Good afternoon. Let's keep peace. God bless you. God bless Uganda.